The garnishment process is all form driven. They're all forms. And these are where the Michigan forms are. If you just Google SCAO, if you Google that and you type in garnishment, you'll get to the forms, and you'll see the notice of garnishment, and it's a lengthy form. At the bottom of that form, there's a section on there that says income that's exempt from garnishment, or sources of income or benefit that are exempt from garnishment, which include any SSI benefits, unemployment benefits, child support, certain retirement benefits, workers' comp, are all exempt from garnishment. And so if a creditor, and this is just, all you have to remember is that, SCAO. If a creditor is trying to garnish a bank account or your wages and it falls into the non-exempt category, you file an objection with the court. And it's a simple piece of paper. And the court notices it for a hearing, and you just go tell the judge. You tell the judge, my income is exempt from garnishment, or the asset, the bank account, is derived or resulted from the receipt of unexempt money. Yeah, the garnishment becomes a real issue. Nothing gets them into my office faster than a garnishment. That's when they finally show up, because they realize now they're going to start taking your money, and there's nothing you can do about it, unless or your other option is to file a motion for installment payments. But in order to succeed with a motion for installment payments, you're going to have to present the judge with a budget that shows him you can't afford to make those payments, which isn't hard to do. It's just most people don't take the time to do it. And I've got a really good budget form on my website. If you just Google bankruptcy doctor, you can find me, and I've got forms on there. And we just finished a new budget sheet, and I'm really happy with it because it's so simple, and you can figure out where you are. Because the issue that I find with most people, and I'm not faulting anybody because I'm a horrible budgeter, believe me, is people don't budget. They don't budget. And we sit at the table and work through the budget, and this is probably the first time they've done that in many, many years. Because you live and die by your budget. In a Chapter 13, you live and die by your budget. In real life, you live and die by your budget, but especially in a 13. And the challenge with 13s, and I've seen this happen more than I like, is you don't spend enough time with your budget, or your attorney doesn't spend enough time with the budget, and you get in so far over your head, and you get a payment order where the trustee just takes your money, and you've got nothing left and you can't make it. So then you run into a jam where you've got to convert your 13 to a 7, which isn't hard, but it gets into the computation of time. So you can file, like I mentioned before, the 13 is a super powerful tool. You can file a 13 and stack them up. You can file and dismiss, file and dismiss, file and dismiss. When you get into Chapter 7, you can only file a Chapter 7 and get a discharge every 8 years. You can follow a 7 with a 13 every 6 years, and you can file a 13 and get a discharge every 4 years. So it's the 864. You can file a 7 every 8 years. A 7 is every 8 years. You can file a 13 after a 7 every 6 years, and you can file a 13 and get the discharge every 4 years. So what happens, and this goes a little bit beyond, but what happens is if you convert a 13 to a 7, the conversion date relates back to the date of filing. And these numbers are all based on date of filing. So you can get trapped up with the 8 and the 6 because it goes back. It all relates back. So you filed a Chapter 13, back in 2010, and now you want to convert to a 7. Well, your file date goes back to 2010. And that's where you get tripped up with this computation.